What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to The Breakdown. This is the series where I analyze subscriber gameplay to help you improve. In today's episode, we're going to be analyzing a gameplay on the map Crusher from Rohan Rocks 15. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so as always, let's kick it off with the class you decided to use. We've got the Titan Warden with an Elo, Grip, Quick Draw, and Suppressor. The only thing that I feel is unnecessary on this setup is the grip. I don't feel like it really helps too much with the Titan. The Titan's already quite accurate, and also as we go throughout the gameplay, he's not really challenging gunfights at super long ranges. Most of his gunfights are close to mid-range, and that foregrip really isn't doing anything for him. So that's a waste of 2 points there, essentially. After that, we've got the Spartan Launcher, which is excellent because I think he shoots down a few UAVs throughout this game. Then we've got Ghost, Hardline, and Dead Silence, and there's really nothing wrong with this setup at all. Now getting into the gameplay, this is going to be one of those episodes where I'd more talk about general topics rather than breaking down each situation in great detail. I'm not going to be really nitpicking on anything in particular. I'm going to be talking about general habits that I'm seeing throughout the gameplay and how they could be improved. The first big habit that I'm noticing here is I notice he's almost always getting into face-to-face 50-50 sorts of gunfights. And when he doesn't, it seems like he's just stumbling upon the enemy. It wasn't like a really big planned move on his part. He's not really thinking about implementing flanks and trying to take the enemy off guard from the side. He's often pushing into situations where there's no other option but a 50-50 gunfight. He's going to the really common hotspots, and he's just setting himself up there for the 50-50 gunfight. And hey, sometimes he wins them, sometimes he loses them. Now, I'm not saying that you can always avoid head-to-head gunfights. It's going to happen even if you're trying to be sneaky or even if you're trying to flank. You're still going to get into 50-50 gunfights. What I suggest, though, is trying to limit the number of 50-50 gunfights. Try to stack those odds in your favor in gunfights more often. And the biggest way to do this is to flank. I saw a lot of opportunities for flanks, but he kept pushing towards the middle of the map, straight towards the enemy, and taking head-on situations. So that was the first thing that I noticed. The second thing I noticed is he jump shots a lot. And jump shots can be a very effective strategy. You'll see me implementing jump shots a lot in my gameplay because it can get you out of a lot of sticky situations, and you can use your superior gun skill while you're jump shotting to kill your enemies. And there definitely are situations in this gameplay where he wouldn't have won that gunfight without jump shotting, so it does work out for him sometimes. The general problem though is I feel like he's relying on jump shots just a little too much, he's doing it too often, and it seems like he's forgetting some of the fundamentals as well. There are many situations where he has a great piece of cover in front of him, and he chooses to ignore it in exchange for using a jump shot. Jump shot should be used as a tool in your arsenal and not as your entire arsenal. Don't forget the fundamentals of using cover and also positioning yourself in a way that allows you to take enemies off guard to the point where there wouldn't even be time to jump shot because your enemy is dead before he can react. So my recommendation here is focus a little bit more on the fundamentals of just moving around the map in a methodical sort of way, using cover, trying to predict enemy flow, getting on their flank, and trying to take them off guard. An excellent way to practice this would be to play some tactical TDM for a while. This game mode takes away those boost jumps from you and forces you to focus on these fundamental aspects of the gameplay. Then when you go back into normal game modes, you can still implement those boost jumps in there, but you'll have a better understanding of how effective it can be to use cover and to set yourself up properly for gunfights. Now, I've picked on the gameplay a little bit here, but there's one thing that I wanted to point out, one specific thing that I really like that he does, and I don't see very many people doing this. And this is firing a shot at point-blank range and then meleeing them. If you guys remember from previous CODs, it was always just a one-hit melee with a knife, so if you were point-blank to somebody and you knife them, it doesn't matter how good their gun skill is, they can't fire like 3 to 4 shots before you can hit the knife button. In Black Ops 3, as well as in Infinite Warfare, we have a 2-hit melee to the front, and therefore you can no longer do this sort of panic knifing. What he does instead is the next best thing. He fires one shot just while hip firing, and when you're that close, the chances of you hitting that shot are super high. So he fires out one shot, and then he hits the melee button. This is still going to be much faster than most people are able to fire their 4 shots needed to kill you, and therefore he comes out on top in a lot of these point-blank situations. This is something that I actually need to start implementing into my game a little bit more often, because I always just resort to using my gun and trying to shoot the guy to death. And to be completely honest, if I ever came face to face with him at point blank range, he would probably beat me about 9 times out of 10 because he uses this tactic and I don't. So I really like that he does this. Now, one last general topic that I wanted to talk about this gameplay that's a little bit more critical is his overall aim, especially when combined with those jump shots that I was talking about earlier. I feel like he might need a bit of an adjustment to his sensitivity, or perhaps just a little bit more practice, more so in the jump shot department than anything. It's usually when he's jump shotting, I just find his aim can be a little bit on the sloppy side. And one thing I also noticed is he's the type of player to aim near his enemy and start firing, and then try and drag himself and find his target and get on target while he's already firing. Now, up close, this is usually a really good tactic because your chances of hitting your target are pretty high anyways, but at those mid to somewhat longer ranges, especially when you're trying to jump shot as well, it just becomes much harder to get your first shot on target if you're already firing your gun off target to begin with. I'd recommend going into a custom game against bots, doing my accuracy drill, and really focusing on the jump shot aspects of that accuracy drill. I'll try to put a little card up on screen right now if I can remember in editing, or a link in the description. But go into a custom game against bots, jump shot them, and really focus on hitting your first shot on target and snap onto that target effectively every single time. I feel like if he's able to master this, as well as, like I was saying earlier, focus on those fundamentals a little bit and utilize cover more effectively, his gameplay will improve so significantly. I noticed in a lot of situations, he gets the jump on the enemy, he gets his first shot off before the enemy gets a shot off, but the problem is his first shot or his first several shots are often completely off target, and therefore he gives his enemies time to line up their shot and kill him. There are lots of situations where he shoots first and dies first, and it's not a connection issue, it's an accuracy issue. If he were to correct that, he would be winning gunfights far more often than he currently is. So with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of The Breakdown. Now, the reason I chose this one and decided to focus on those general issues is I feel like those issues can be quite common within the community. I've seen a few gameplays that had very similar issues with this, but this one I think illustrated it the best. I'm seeing a lot of players that it seems are trying to emulate like YouTubers, like Pub Stompers or pro players or something, where they're trying to use this movement system and do crazy things like this. But in the process, they're forgetting a lot of the fundamentals of the game, and it's really harming their gameplay. So I really hope this resonates with at least a few of you guys out there, and I hope you'll be able to recognize if you're making similar sort of mistakes, and will be able to implement the changes into your gameplay. If you have a gameplay that you'd like to submit for a future episode of The Breakdown, all you have to do is send a link to a raw gameplay with no music or commentary or anything like that, a raw gameplay that's at least HD in quality, to the email address in the description below. I'll have a look at it, and I just might include it for a future episode. Keep in mind though, I've already got quite a few submissions, so it is going to take a while to get to your gameplay, and there's no guarantee that will be added into the series because, like I said, I get quite a few submissions for this series. Also, just a reminder, I tend to choose gameplays that are more within the realm of average, so they can be a little above average, a little below average. I'm not looking for absolutely insane, crazy, flawless sorts of gameplays by any means. The reason for this is I'm trying to find gameplays that people can really resonate with, that the average player can really resonate with. And most average players, they don't resonate with those flawless, like, nuclear type gameplays and stuff like that. So, if you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.